The Galactic Council had always prided itself on its vast knowledge of interspecies, biology, ecology, and evolution. For centuries, they had meticulously catalogued the weaknesses and strengths of countless species across the galaxy. Yet, there was one species that had recently defied every logical framework they had built their research upon: humanity. It started with an unexpected transmission, intercepted by a scout ship from the Zalkoth system, a race known for their brilliant minds and unparalleled ability to conduct thorough biological studies. The transmission contained footage of a human in a life-threatening situation, stranded on a remote planet with an atmosphere largely composed of toxic gases. To the horror of the Zalkoths, the human seemed completely unaffected. The toxic gases, deadly to most species, appeared to have no impact. But that was not the most shocking part. It was the water. The human, in a desperate bid to survive, found a small pool of water amid the desolation. According to the Zalkoth report, they had expected the human to perish the moment their skin made contact with the liquid, for water, in any form, was universally hazardous to nearly every species they had studied. It could cause a host of physiological reactions, from severe skin rashes to internal organ failures. But to their astonishment, the human plunged into the water without a hint of distress. In fact, the human thrived. The footage showed the human swimming with ease, their body seeming to absorb the water rather than suffer from it. It was an anomaly, a biological phenomenon that the Galactic Council could not explain. As soon as the transmission reached the central archives of the Galactic Council, a wave of disbelief swept through the chamber. High-ranking members from every species, from the silicon-based Arborians to the crystalline Vradon, gathered to discuss the implications of this shocking discovery. "Impossible," muttered Kryll, the Granthian biologist who had spent centuries studying various forms of life. His skin, a smooth and reflective surface, was still rippling with the reverberations of the news. Water is deadly to all organic life forms. It's a universal law of biology. How could humans possibly be immune? "We need to understand the mechanisms at work here," said Zexar, a towering Earthian strategist, their deep voice booming. "If this species has found a way to survive in a substance that would obliterate any other known life form, it could change the entire balance of power in the galaxy. The implications for war, trade, and diplomacy are." But what was even more unsettling was the lack of information about this immunity. Human biology had always been perplexing to other species, but this was something else entirely. They had no documented history of any humans surviving water-related catastrophes, let alone thriving in it. Was this an isolated case, or was it a widespread trait? And if so, how did it manifest? The Council immediately dispatched a fleet of ships to Earth, the homeworld of humanity, to gather more data. Upon arrival, they quickly realized that the human immunity to water was no accident. It was, in fact, a result of rapid adaptation through generations of evolutionary pressure. Humans, it turned out, had developed a unique enzyme, known only to their species, that allowed them to metabolize water without any ill effects. This enzyme, which humans referred to as aquazyme, worked by converting water into a form that could be used by the human body for sustenance rather than harm. This discovery baffled the Council's top scientists, who had assumed that no species could evolve to thrive in a substance as universally destructive as water. The Zalkoths, whose expertise lay in understanding environmental and biological hazards, were the first to propose a theory. They speculated that humanity's resilience might have originated from their planet's extreme climate conditions, where water was both a vital resource and a dangerous element. Early humans had adapted over millennia, developing genetic mutations that allowed them to withstand the dangers of water in all its forms. However, the more the Council studied, the more they realized that humanity's relationship with water was not only biological, but also cultural. For centuries, humans had developed advanced technologies to control water, from purification systems to advanced aqueducts. The sheer ingenuity of their species in adapting their environments to fit their needs was staggering, but the true nature of their immunity remained elusive. The Galactic Council had spent eons observing species that had adapted to extreme environments, yet none had ever done so in a manner so profound. Some species, like the Pluvian, had evolved to live in gaseous atmospheres, while others, like the Thrakes, had developed armored exoskeletons to protect themselves from the harsh environments of their home planets. But none had ever demonstrated the type of resilience that humanity had shown with water. In a desperate attempt to understand this anomaly, the Council commissioned an experiment on Earth, using their most advanced technology to measure the human body's response to water. It was a rigorous study involving hundreds of volunteers from across the globe. The results were nothing short of astonishing. Not only did humans survive immersion in water, but their bodies seemed to interact with it in ways no one could explain. The aquazyme enzyme acted as a catalyst, breaking down water into usable nutrients at an unprecedented rate. It was as if water, once a deadly force, had become an ally to humanity. The implications of this discovery rippled through the Galactic Council. What had initially been thought of as an isolated incident on a remote planet had turned into a revelation that could reshape the very foundations of galactic diplomacy. If humans could withstand a substance as universally harmful as water, what other hidden strengths might they possess? What other evolutionary advantages had they hidden from the rest of the galaxy? The Zalkoths, typically a race of cool-headed intellectuals, began to debate the potential military applications of this immunity. Could humanity's water immunity give them an edge in warfare? If they were immune to a substance that had brought down so many of their enemies in the past, how could they be defeated? The thought sent shivers down the spines of the council members. Others were more cautious. "We must not underestimate the resilience of humanity," said Elysia, an ancient Vradon diplomat. "Their ability to adapt is unlike anything we've ever encountered. If they can survive water, what else might they be capable of? We must tread carefully in our dealings with them." But despite the rising concerns, one thing was clear. Humanity had just proven itself to be a force that the Galactic Council could no longer ignore. The water was no longer a threat to them, it was a resource to be harnessed. And with this newfound strength, humanity's place in the galaxy would be forever altered. The Galactic Council had been shocked by the discovery, but they soon realized that this was just the beginning. There were more mysteries surrounding humanity than anyone could have ever imagined. The true question now was not how humanity had evolved this way, but what they would do with this newfound power.